What's good, brodies? So in today's video, I'm gonna make a video on lockable doors, and I'm gonna be joined by Val because he's interested and he gave me the idea. I'll put the suggestion on screen. So he says hi, and okay, we'll get into it. So the best way I can explain how a lockable door works is like imagine this, okay? You have your door, right? You have your door, nice simple door, and you have the handle to the door, right? But you don't want people to interact with this handle when it's locked, right? So you're going to put something on the door that will lock it. And then you're going to make a block move into this said handle to block the handle so you can't interact with it until you unlock it again using the button. So we're just going to start now. Alright guys, I'm going to make a really simple door, so just follow along. I'm going to be speeding this up, so slow it down if you need to. Alright, so this is a nice and simple door. If I just get this and just Shift G, WC, the door will now open normally, right? But that's obviously not the result we want. We want to make it so the door is only interactable by handle and only when it's unlocked. So the simplest way to make a door, first of all, UWC and ungroup it. The simplest way to make a door only interact by handle is by grouping the body of it. So whatever the door is, obviously the body is part of its own group. But so for some reason in this game, when you have a group, when you group something together, you can no longer interact with it in wires. So separate parts like this can just be interacted, but then you can't interact with the actual door. So yeah, now we're gonna proceed to adding the basic lock button on the door and then the actual lock itself. So the simplest way to add a lock on the door, usually you want like a keyhole or something, right? You want to interact with something on the door. So maybe like one of those little like handle things that you put up here that you can just like push in so the door can't open and stuff. Usually that's what people do, but personally I like to key lock. So for a key lock, all you're gonna do is, ungroup this again, and simply you're gonna make another wire inside of a wire, simply. So for example, I'm gonna move this here. I'm just gonna shrink it down even more and just have it on the handle, right? Just like this. And usually you want to have this on like one side. So for example, the handle's gonna be here because you want to be lockable. I forgot to push that out. That's whatever. Right. So you have your little key thing, your little keyhole on here, and so simply you're just gonna make another wire that's interactable here. So what I like to do is drag it out, texture side front, -501, right? Simply. Now you want to set this to a very, very like low number, so it's almost instant, because you want this to send a signal out afterwards, and you want that to be instant, right? So what you can do is just drag it out, get one that's 3 instead, and change it to a color that you like. I'm gonna make it red because simple. Then what you can do is just clone this and don't move it. Press G and make this 2. Then just if you shift click here, I don't know why this happens, but if two parts inside of each other cloned, you can just select what's inside of it. Usually it doesn't happen. Easy chill guide. So all you're gonna do is once again select all this, WC, and now you'll have a very simple signal sender. But obviously we want this connected to the door. Simply to connect to the door, UWC first of all you're gonna do is you're gonna do what you did. You're gonna take the group here and just group it. And then just group it with the rest of the door. So when you do this, you just WC. Now let's see wire 2 connections. That means, boom, you can interact with the door, and the lock will move with the door now, because that's what it's grouped to. So bam, I can interact with it, but obviously not is going to happen because you signal. But it does work now. So we're gonna go to making the lock. So to add a lock to a door, it's really a pretty simple process. It's pretty much the same thing, except you're gonna cover the handle instead by moving a wire through the receiving signal. So instead, you're gonna what I like to do is I just like to copy this, right? I'm gonna ungroup it, and you're gonna scale this to fit the size, right? Fit the entire door handle, right? Scale on both sides so it fits, cover it up, boom, bada boom, bada bing, right? Done. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab one of your wires and so for example, I'm going to set this to 1 because it's more convenient for me. And you're going to drag this up so you can't really, like, do anything with it. You can't really, like, interact with it more or less. Like, so, of course, you want to keep it hidden so it doesn't cover up the door handle, and also because, like, you know, if you're jumping, you're not going to, like, bump into it like this. So you can keep it either, like, higher up, like, above the door here, but if that's inconvenient, you can keep it down low or just next to the handle in general. So, you know, that. But anyways, you're going to set this to 2, and you're going to set this one, instead of 3, to 4, because I copied it, right? Now, simply just group all this together. And now you have a really simple cover. So if I just WC here, right? We're not. This isn't nested. So if I just press that, you'll notice that it covers the handle. That is exactly what we want. Okay. So just UWC again. What I'm gonna do for now is just press Shift T to access parts in the group, and use Shift Select by dragging, and just select all of the wires and just make them invisible and no collision. Really good practice for your builds. I recommend it heavily. So cover this all up. Now, this is what's important. The cover itself has to be 0.99 transparency and has to be physical collision. If the collision's off and it's not 0.99 transparency, at least the door handle's cover is not going to work. So keep this in mind, and simply all of it's done. You know, that's your little key lock. Thing's invisible, and I mean this isn't invisible, but it practically is. Like, you can really barely see it, as you can see. But if you just grab all this and select it, WC, wired 3 connections, exactly what we want. So now you'll notice that. Oh right, you want to make these invisible. Apologies. Right, so it's as simple as this. You just, you know, your door works fine. You know, the handle moves back and forth, but when you lock it, you can't interact with the door anymore. Not in any way, shape, or form. See that? Nothing you can do until you unlock it. No. And what's good about this, about just locks in general, is that you have one lock on this side and you have no lock here, as you can see. So simply unlock, open the door. Bam. Thanks for watching, guys. I kept this nice and short because obviously this is more of a complicated thing, you know. Nested wiring is like a little more like detailed, if you get me. Like, obviously open door, locking it, having all the wires move with it is obviously a little bit more complicating rather than just making a simple wire. So that's why I made this video in the first place. So once again, thank you guys for watching. If you have more suggestions, please tell me in the comments below. I'm running out of ideas, so that'd be really nice. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.